Every dealership runs on a set of predictable systems, right up until an operational bottleneck hits. The problem costing your auto group the most capital is rarely sitting neatly on a standard vendors list. It is usually something off the radar. This diagram illustrates the usual targets for automation: sales, BDC, service, and executive reporting. But then there is this fifth space, the bespoke edge cases. Maybe you are struggling with a complex hiring pipeline, severe parts obsolescence, F&I product penetration, or a proprietary process mandated by your OEM. The default assumption in the industry is that if an operational issue is highly specific to your particular rooftop, you cannot fix it with scalable, off-the-shelf software. Because no ready-made tool exists, you end up managing these highly specific pain points the hard way. You throw expensive human labor at the bottleneck, paying managers to manually patch the gaps in the process hour by hour. The actual obstacle here is not how unique your specific problem is. The friction comes from lacking a translation layer, a way to take your exact local pain and express it to an automated architecture. Leaving these unclassified problems alone simply because they lack an immediate software solution ends up bleeding capital silently. It becomes one of the most expensive strategic errors a dealership can make. This blueprint diagram shows how we approach any chaotic operational process. Every bespoke problem, no matter how tangled, can actually be mapped to a universal automation framework requiring 4 strict phases: see, diagnose, act, and recover. Looking at the first node, we have the C phase. An automated agent first ingests and maps the highly specific, unstructured data points generated by your dealership's unique problem. Once the data is organized, it moves to the diagnose node. The system evaluates those data points against your exact business rules, or those strict OEM requirements we discussed, filtering them through a logic gate to determine the next step. Finally, the agent moves through the act and recover nodes. It executes the necessary task, whether that is updating a record or sending an alert, and immediately resets the system, ready for the exact same cycle again. Our intelligence foundation is entirely department agnostic. It does not care if the data comes from parts, HR, or finance. It only requires this structural framework to operate. Once you parse an undefined operational issue into these 4 terms, the mystery disappears. What looked like an unmanageable local problem is now a highly predictable, automatable workflow. This timeline illustrates our deployment path. We start with a discovery conversation to listen to your needs, taking that undefined problem on the left and mapping it directly to the software systems you already use every day. With the map built, we design the AI agents. These configurable agents are slotted right into the operational gaps we identified, bridging your existing systems without requiring new software platforms. We then propose a contained 90-day pilot. You review the scope, we iterate on the details, and you sign off on a tightly controlled deployment, mapped precisely to your pain. Even though the workflow we architect is uniquely yours, the underlying infrastructure is not. You get the exact same robust architecture, the exact same intelligence foundation, and the identical pilot structure used in our standard workflows. Using this repeatable deployment blueprint removes the high stakes normally associated with bespoke automation. We handle the complexity, and you get a reliable, bounded process. This diagram shows the intelligence foundation as a central hub. Solving a single, isolated problem is highly valuable, but it is actually just a build step for a much larger, permanent expansion of your dealership's capabilities. We call this the flywheel effect. Every new piece of software or proprietary system your custom workflow connects to permanently extends the reach of that central intelligence foundation. Every output produced by this newly mapped workflow flows back to the center. It becomes active training data, constantly refining the models and improving your team's broader operational intelligence. Because subsequent workflows can inherit and share the systems already connected by the first one, an incredible compounding effect happens. The next automation you add to the hub drops in cost, while the overall capability of the system scales upward. Take a hard look at your operations. Identify the operational gap costing you the most capital, the one you previously assumed was too localized to automate. We will scope the workflow and propose the agents. Book your discovery call at autoagentic.ai and tell us exactly what is hurting your margins.